What's up, everybody? It's Andre Iguodala from the Golden State Warriors here. It's my pleasure, on behalf of New Amendment and the Point Forward podcast, to invite you all out on Friday, March 10th, to Beyond the Big Ten live recording taking place at Over Under Sports Bar in Lincoln Park, Chicago. That's Friday, March 10th at Over Under from 3 to 7 p.m. Look forward to catching y'all there.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Old Terps podcast, brought to you by the good folks at New Amendment. This is a quick turnaround for us. We're going back to back this week. Little NBA road trip. We got Kevin in OKC stuck there for a couple days, so we thought, what else is he going to do besides talk to us about basketball? This is Terrell. I'm here with Kevin Huerter, Travis Valmon, Reese Mona. We're going to be talking all things Terps today. First things first, Kevin, this is a question episode, so I'm going to just start you with one. Georgetown, that game-winning block. You have any idea that was going to happen, or you know? And then after it happened, just kind of describe. Did we go out that night? I'm not going to say it.
That's how we're starting off the show.
Absolutely.
That was like singly one of my best nights of my life. Georgetown game, you throw it back. The arena was absolutely electric. We were in Georgetown's gym, and all you heard were Maryland fans. It was like my third game of my college career. Melo Trimble went dummy. Absolutely piggybacked us to that win. Last possession, no. Honestly, it started. I forget the guy I was guarding. He was a lefty. He was a bucket.
Bro, he was a bucket.
Rodney Pryor.
Rodney Pryor. So he caught the ball at half court. This is the final possession. We're up one. Caught the ball at half court, and low key I was backpedaling. So immediately I looked at Anthony like, "Yo, come help! Like this guy's coming downhill. Your boy needs some help." He comes downhill. Anthony sprints over, gives it up. Pryor back to what's my guy's name? Took the layup.
Jagan Mosley.
Mosley.
I'll never forget this.
Mosley,
This is
Mosley.
Imprinted in my brain. I will never forget this shit.
It is. He goes down the lane. I remember I just kind of followed the ball, went up for the layup. And I remember it felt like everything stopped. It was I went up, I blocked it, but no one reacted right when it happened. So it kind of felt like the whole world stopped. I didn't really know how to react, and all of a sudden the buzzer was going off, and it was oh my God, we just won. And it was chaotic. The best pictures that come out of that. Our locker room was crazy after that. The highlights, going back and watching it. Like I said, it was my third college game ever. And we shut down College Park after that. Fun fact, Travis and I had an econ final the next morning. And so we're walking off the court. My parents are there. Our academic advisor, Tosh, at the time. Hopefully I'm not getting anybody in trouble. Me and Travis walk off the court. And I look at her in the face. I'm like, Tosh, there is a very good chance I am not making this midterm. I think it was a midterm. We're making this midterm in the morning. And she was like, yeah, make sure you guys have fun. But you'll be there in the morning. And I was it was one of those, I was serious, Tosh, I'm not going to this midterm in the morning. We go back to College Park. We wear our team sweats out. We're rocking Maryland basketball. Went right over to turf. This was also the last night that any of us were allowed in there because they knew us after that. Walked to the Terrapin Turf. We're there till closing. Absolutely hammered. I think Checo walked up and bought every bottle of tequila in the bar.
Bro, whenever the internationals were out, whenever the Croatians were out and you heard "Brate," you drinking?
It was a good night.
It was over.
It was a good night.
It was a night.
They would line up 30 straight shots
every single time.
And it was like a thing. And so we probably leave the bar. Granted, this is a Tuesday night. This is like everybody else in school had class the next morning. We go back to I think we're going back to the dorms after the College Bar closed. It was maybe 3 a.m. Travis and Andrew are sleeping on my floor. Don't know why. Their rooms were literally next door, and they chose to sleep on the floor with nothing.
Couldn't walk.
I don't know what happened. I can't really speak on it because I wasn't really there. You're gonna have to ask somebody else on that. I don't know what happened. Just I don't know.
So we wake up in the morning. I think Travis got a call first, and then I got the call second. Like I said, we were in the same class. And so Tosh calls us like 8:45. I think it started. We had to be there at 9. She calls Travis. She's like, hey, like just making sure you're on the way to your midterm.
I say, yep.
And Travis like, you're like, you're going to have to call Kevin. And so I was right above him laying in bed. And so she hangs up the phone and he just like rolls over, looks up at me. He's like, we're fucked. Like, we're fucked. She calls me. She calls me on the phone. I pick up and it was like, hey, like Travis on the way. Like, just want to make sure you're on the way to your midterm. And it was like, Andrew could tell from here. Like, just so people know I'm not lying.
I'll never forget this because it's on speaker. The best is when Travis hangs up his phone. Then out of nowhere, you just hear zzz, zzz, zzz. You hear Kevin's phone immediately blasting. He puts it on speaker, and it's like kind of funny at first. Like, haha, like, no, I don't feel very well. I'm not going to go. To like Kevin like pretty much dropped the mic and said, no, Tosh, like you don't get it. I'm not going. Like I will not go. And she's like, you're kidding. And Kevin's like, Tosh, I'm not going. I'm just being dead point blank with you. And the phone just hung up and, you know, it ended up being fine. But I always laugh at those situations where even though like I was a walk-on, didn't play, bro, I didn't go to school. I didn't go to class. Bro, I played basketball there. Like, that was it. Whenever we won, there was no class the next day, ever. Like, it did not matter. If there's a road trip, I got to have class at 5 p.m. 2 days later. I'm not going, you know? So it's just different.
I will add into that. The reason that you were able to get away with that is also because you got good grades. Like, they were more on if you weren't going to class and you're sitting there like flunking out of school, like, no, they sent advisors with you to go make sure you were sitting in class. They made you go to study hall and emails. Like, regardless of what happened, you were going to get good grades. You got a little bit more of a leash if you were sitting there and you're dropping A's in class and it was like, hey, you missed one here or there. We had a big win last night, you know, felt a little sick the next day. So we all took care of business. People don't know, like Travis and Reese are two of the smartest people I met. Andrew just figures it out.
I just somehow figured squeak it by.
So we figured out, we rescheduled that midterm. Travis probably got like a 97. I think I rolled out of there with maybe actually, no, that one I did really well in.
Yeah, you did. So you do well that one. Yeah, you did.
I think I rolled out of there with like an 84 or something. So it ended up working out, but you know, I was too sick. I think the mindset was like, Tosh, trust me, you do not want me going to this midterm in the current shape that I'm in. Like, hey, I'm doing you a favor by not going.
The craziest part of that story is you told her like, look, Tosh, I'm not going, and you hung up. You rolled over like you're going back to bed. So now I had to call her back because she's thinking I'm going to the test, and I'm like, hey, Tosh, and she's like, Kevin's not going. You got to go get him. Make sure you bring him with you. And I'm like, look, Kev's not going. And also, Tosh, I'm not going. And she was like, Travis, you got to be kidding me. Whatever, this is a midterm. You can't just miss this. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. And then probably the wildest part of the story is after that, I hung up the phone. I think I rolled over on the floor and went back to bed.
Dude,
like,
I think the craziest part for me was I couldn't see for the next like 9 hours. Like, I lost vision at one point. It's tough for me to describe because that was one of those nights where we were in the way back at Turf. I always remember that. We were in the way back at Turf, and we had our own little group back there. It wasn't like, you know, that many people were bothering us and all that. Like, we just kind of did our own thing, which was rare at College Park bars because they're small. Like, Bentley's, you could never go anywhere. Like, even as, like, walk-ons, like, we could barely fit places. And that was one of those nights it just carved out a perfect little spot. We got fucked up. We were dancing. Like, we just had a good time. So, to answer anybody's question, did you guys drink during the season? Fuck yes. We were getting ham sauce.
Remember
only when we won.
Right
Only when we won. Only on wins. Only after wins.
It was the right times. We would know.
Legitimate.
It was after W's. It was.
And if we had time off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it would be, we were smart with though. Usually when we saw a Friday or Saturday night game at home, we wanted to win that more than ever. You want to win that and you want to be out to the frats and then right out to the bar.
Trust me.
Those are the games you want bad.
Shout out Anthony Cowan. This happened on more than one occasion.
Bro,
we'd be sitting in the under 4 timeout and we were winning. Like, we're at home. We're like, we know we're about to win this game. Anthony would literally turn to me as we're sitting there waiting for turds to come in the huddle, like, yo, we getting fucked up tonight? Like, it was like we were already talking about it, like, hey, yo, we got the pregame right after. Yeah, then we'll go out. Like, it was the best thing was winning at home on the weekends, because we were just like, the night after was just chaotic.
Bro, people think I had the towel for symbolism. I had that so people couldn't read my lips when I'm asking Brendan if he's got everything lined up for after. I'm like, I'm sitting back there whispering to him. I said, you got the 30 stack. You got, everybody know pregame 221 varsity. Shout out this. If you live at the varsity and you're in room 221.
221.
That room has seen some shit. Let me tell you. About 15 dogs. It's just seen a lot of shit. So
we gotta get that guy on the pod. We gotta get him as a guest, and listen to. We need to hear what the spirit, the ghosts, the demons are like in 221.
We're renting out 221. If you live in the varsity, College Park, the varsity, room 221, you got to somehow give us a shout. Hit me on Twitter. Hit Kevin. It doesn't matter. Hit somebody on Instagram or Twitter. We're going to rent that room from you for a weekend just to relive the college days. So give us a shout out. We'd love to hear from you.
I would also like to give the full scope of that story too. Turgeon tried his hardest to not let us party. The practices in the morning. We'd get back from road trips. We'd be sitting on the bus. We'd come from the airport, and it's like they would you could tell like there was certain nights where like he knew it was too late for us to like rush into the varsity and go out. But the nights that we got back at like 10:30, 11, he'd walk back to the back of the bus, put his hands on two seats, lean forward, and just give the, fellas, let's be smart tonight. I know we got back early. Like, we got a big game on Monday. Let's be smart. We don't need to do anything. And we're like, oh, yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, we got like immediately the second that bus pulled away, we walked across the street to the liquor store getting all our stuff.
And he was pulling away in the bus, and he was like, damn it, those guys are going to go ham today. And there was nothing he could do about it. He knew, but like, it was also like, I think the good thing about us though is like, it was a privilege that like we earned, right? Like, we weren't stupid about it. We weren't like doing it when we weren't supposed to do it. That never affected practice, games, anything like that. Like, it was like you take care of business, you earn a night to just relax, chill, hang out with the guys, and whatever happened.
And I'll also add, we were also, in terms of being really smart about it, everybody, you didn't go out by yourself, you were with somebody. And again, like, it's not like we were ever, going out drinking when we had a practice the next day or anything like that. We always had off days. It wasn't ridiculous.
We were taking the bus.
There was one.
We were taking the bus. Bro, we have another story. Andrew's on the bus coming back after the bars and fell asleep on the bus 3 times and went a full loop around campus. And every time he called me at the start, like, bro, bus isn't moving. Bro, bus isn't moving, bro. I've been sitting here for 15 minutes. Anyway, so we were, there was no drinking and driving. We were being regular. We take that walk back from the bars.
Oh, man.
It was there was some good times.
It was a nice walk.
Times.
The only time was before practice was, I probably told this one before, but it was New Year's Eve, and the walk-ons, we were going out. There's no way we weren't going out. It was practice the next day. We made sure the starters stayed in, got their sleep. We went out. We come to practice the next day. One of the assistants is in our huddle. We're in the defensive huddle, sweating our balls off. We're getting cooked. We couldn't guard anything.
Toasted.
We couldn't guard anything.
You know what that was? That was Kevin's rookie year. We were out in D.C. He was there for New Year's Eve.
Oh,
bro,
wait.
Yes.
Bro.
I remember
Hello.
sitting there, and one of the managers
The
came up
coach
to
started
me.
smelling us.
Bro,
it was nuts.
One of the managers came up to me and was like, bro, it smells like you're sweating vodka. You got to get out of here. I'm like faking injuries. I'm dumping Gatorade on my head.
I'm not gonna lie, fellas. That day after practice, y'all know I'm a slow mover. Usually, I was always the last guy out of the locker room. I kid you not. I put a stool in the shower, and I sat in the shower for 55 minutes after that practice.
But the managers were real ones. They came out with new jerseys for some reason because they smelled so bad. It was like, yo, take your jersey off.
Oh, bro, Brendan grabbed me the brand new jersey because he was like, dude, you just smell like vodka.
Spraying dudes down with Febreze in the huddle. Like, here, come here. Lift up your arms and get a whiff of this.
Okay, so real fast, speaking of big wins, Maryland just beat the hell out of Northwestern on senior night. A massive win for us, especially for seeding purposes going into the Big Ten tournament. We now, I think, are sole second of the Big Ten, which is crazy. We can speak about next week that Willard probably deserves Coach of the Year along with Collins. But in just terms of real quick going through that game, a lot of emotions. The first half was iffy. However, we played well. Northwestern hit a bunch of BS shots. Travis, you texted me that halfway through. And like any road team, you just cool off for a little bit, and then you get some momentum from your home crowd, and it goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, this was like another example of like us having that switch, that gear that we flipped in the second half, where it was like, I mean, in the first half, Northwestern was hitting some crazy shit. Like Chase Audees was coming down mid-range, contested, like they were hitting anything. And I was a little bit worried because I was like, Drew, you said it, like we shot like 70% from three in the first half. Like it felt like we played as well as we could, and we were still only up 2. But then we flipped that switch in the second half where we got going, we got stops, we got out and ran. Don Carey hit a couple shots, Hakeem hit a couple shots, Jameer did what he did. And it was the perfect culmination, I think, of like a perfect Big Ten season. Like for us to run away with that game on senior night at home. Willard said he'd never had a senior night group play that well in his, coaching career. Like that was, I think, a perfect send-off and a testament to what this group has accomplished this year.
And 10-0 at home in the Big Ten is incredible. Good for the fans too. That's impressive. And I was there. It was electric. And shout out the couple fans that came up and said they love the pod. I hope you're listening today. But heck of a job by the Terps to go undefeated in Big Ten at home. I mean, that's a big deal. And the fans are a huge part of it, though. Students really showed out. So it's something to be proud of for everybody.
One thing that we're looking into going in this game was the matchups. Potentially a first team all Big Ten matchup. Boo Booey, Jameer. Jameer ran away with that. He had a big first half for us to obviously win at home on senior night. That was something I was watching going to that game where how was that going to go down? I think whoever had the better game, their team was going to come out on top. And Jameer on senior night in a big matchup, I think he solidified himself as, I think he should be first team. We'll see. He's first or second team in my book.
Yeah.
I think Bowie's right up there with him. Jalen Pickett, Penn State, I think, is right up there with those guys. So that was a great matchup for me to see.
To me, I thought like
Bowie struggled.
That game was like two guys who like probably battling for that like fifth spot. Because you got Chris Murray there, you got like Trace Jackson Davis, you got Edie. Boo Booey had 4 points, 8 assists. Jameer had 18, 3, and 3. Like he killed him. He dominated. Like that was a statement, testament. I deserve first team. I think he should get it now, personally.
And in big spots too. Like I think one of the bigger spots in any game is when it's close going into halftime. It's whoever steals that momentum going into half. And you kind of hang your hat on it. It's kind of like yesterday, if anybody watched the Penn State-Nebraska game, or Penn State-Rutgers game. Penn State's up by like 18, but Rutgers goes on a little run before half. Jameer hits a massive shot before half to put him up 1 or maybe even 2. And it kind of just slid downhill from there. Everything kind of went easy. And then we broke out the lead to, 10-15 the rest of the game. And I think that was a culmination of Jameer making the right plays the entire end of the first half in order to keep that lead, even with Northwestern kind of hitting, fluky shots here and there.
And I'm going to say this one more time. Shout out again to the fans. Like, I'm on ESPN, and I'm like seeing like 100% attendance, 17,950 people. Like, that is really impressive. I know the guys appreciate it. If we could continue that type of support every game, for the foreseeable future, like, it's major. It's huge.
I think that's another thing that is different about the college and the NBA game. Like, momentum is massive in college, and it's such like an energy killer. If you're Northwestern and Jameer hits a tough shot like that going to the half, it's like immediately just like drop your shoulders, like God damn, like that. Like it feels backbreaking. There's so many less possessions in college, especially on the road. Like every play, every possession feels super important. That like those random possessions where like, he shouldn't have hit that shot. That was a tough shot right before it. Like there's so many more possessions in the NBA that it doesn't feel like each one is necessarily as important until you get down to the end of the game. But like right before the half, you hit a 3 in the NBA, and you're just like, all right, we have the whole second half, like whatever, we're about to have 100 more possessions to make it up. In college, it just feels a little bit more important. So like having that momentum and the energy going into the half like that, especially at home, is huge.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. So I know we were tweeting about this episode a lot, and we started promising a lot of fans, we're going to answer a lot of questions. And we had a ton of questions come in, which we really appreciate. And we're going to try to get to as many as we can throughout the season. But today we picked out a couple. So real fast, scouting report looking ahead. We have Ohio State and then Penn State. Both are going to be really tough games. Ohio State is finally back on their horse. They finally won one after losing 9 or 10 straight. So that'll be a tough game that we can't slouch on. And then at Penn State, they're going into the tournament, and they need a win. So they're going to be hungry to come get us as well. We'll touch on those a little bit more. I think we're going to have an episode in between those. I'm not sure yet. But we really want to get to kind of word on campus and go through some of these questions that you guys had for us, which, again, we really appreciate that type of stuff. So one of the first questions that I got that was the most typical question was, what does a game day look like for you guys? So if you guys play at 7 p.m. at home, what does a game day look like? We have different variations. Kevin, obviously, you played a lot more than we did than, Travis and I and Reese. So, Kev, for you, 7 p.m. game, you're waking up in the morning. What kind of, take us through your day on that type of stuff when you're in college?
Yeah, you always have shoot around. So you wake up. It's usually like the first thing you do at 10 o'clock. You show up for shoot around, go through some different things with the team. Actually, that was more on the road. Shoot around for us, we used to have in the afternoon when we were at home. So
I think it was 4 hours before game.
Yeah. So I guess if we're at home, you wake up, you have class in the morning as normal. You go there, you're sitting there, you're looking forward to the rest of the game. About 2 o'clock, I want to say 2 or 3 o'clock, you show up to the gym. We have our walk-through shoot around. You go through scout, you get some shots up, you stretch. That's hugely important, those shoot arounds, like getting your body moving. And after that, we had usually like a dead period, like 2 hours. They would always have food for us in Xfinity Center. We'd walk up the bleachers and they'd have a big food spread for us. A lot of guys would take it and go eat in the locker room. Myself, I tried to grab like a 40-minute nap in the locker room. I'd eat and go in, and we'd turn all the lights off, and we had some couches in there, and Ken Oslander was playing Madden. So we'd go and usually take a nap, and Andrew was probably sitting in the hot tub. And then, we go from that nap. It was 60 on the clock. Everyone on our team had to be dressed and out on the court to start our stretch and our usual pregame routine. We'd have a couple times we'd go back in the locker room, meet as a team, and next thing you know, it's game time.
I always thought it was funny seeing different people's routines where, like Melo, he wouldn't sleep before games because he always thought it made him feel drowsy. Like Anthony would sleep sometimes. I feel like I always went and took a nap because I was so goddamn exhausted. But it was just funny watching everybody kind of do their different type of routines. Like a lot of people took showers before games. Like it was just something that you did. Then you went, you got dressed, and then you were fired up, ready to go. So I don't know. For me, it was always just kind of make sure everybody's as relaxed as possible, sit in the hot tub and get those legs, cruising and boozing a little bit. Okay, so we talked about the home. What about away? So
I can rip the away experience, and y'all can add something to it. But
talk about the plane.
It's
too.
funny
talk about the plane too, because a lot of people want to know about like how do you get to the plane and all that stuff.
Yeah. So the crazy part is you're going to hear how busy this is. Teachers think you have time on the road. You really don't. It's extremely time consuming. So we go ahead. We practice before we leave. Say 3 o'clock. You practice. We head to the bus. Chipotle's waiting for us. Everyone showers, cleans up. We take the bus right to BWI. It's pretty sweet. The plane's waiting for us. You get off the bus. You walk off. You walk right onto the plane. Really nice. You take the plane. Say we're heading over to Iowa. Take the plane. You land in Iowa. Could be 8, 9 o'clock. This was my favorite part. Before COVID, you go to a real nice steakhouse. Mm-hmm. Everyone gets a good meal. It's enjoyable. We crack on each other. It's very funny. One time, I remember Drew was spazzing on everybody at dinner. We could talk about that another time. But do that. Then we go, a couple more things is we go right back to the hotel. We go to the hotel. We do stretching. We watch film. We might even do a walkthrough. Next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock at night. Teachers expect you to do homework. Me personally, I would do some, but then I'd see the rest of the teammates just probably go take a nap. We run to the snack room. Yeah. Go to sleep, fight over the snacks. Next morning, a little more chill, wake up, breakfast, shoot around, come back, and that's when you get a little free time to yourself, maybe 3 hours. And if you weren't doing homework, you weren't doing any work. So it's just tough being a student athlete. And then from there, everyone did their own thing, and we go over and head to the game. But extremely busy. People don't really realize that. Teachers definitely don't. So that's a tough part of being a student athlete. But trips were always fun.
Yeah, small things. The salad dressing before we left to get on the bus was always just like you immediately got off the court and you went after to make sure you had a salad dressing. So there's one. The plane was significantly better when we were winning. Remember, it was all of a sudden our second year we had like half the size of the plane, and Terrell was like, "Hey fellas, let's start getting some wins here on the road. You see what type of plane we had last year when we started 20-2."
Crazy,
bro. That was the craziest switch mid-season when we went like 0-4 on the road. Turgeon said, "Okay, fuck these cupcakes. We're going small plane now." We were in a prop plane for a little bit, going 2x2 to the game. It was so small at some point.
It was like they had to cut people out of our travel party type of thing.
In freshman year, we were flying on the Patriots Robert Kraft's private jet. That's what we were using freshman year, and then sophomore year we was in the crop duster.
But I will say, I was talking to some guys here, like their college experience. Most guys' planes were like the one we had our second year, so they weren't like the bigger. Like we had it nice my freshman year, Kentucky. Talking to Malik Monk, and he would think like, all right, like they'd have it all set up. He was like, our plane had like 15 seats. Like it was basically our team, our coaches. That's it. So I was like, damn, like my freshman year, we had a plane like the one we fly in the NBA, which was like a big, huge charter thing. So we actually had it pretty good. You later find out. Later on, the team dinners, people didn't know, it was always a limited menu. Our Lord and Savior, Kyle Tarp, controlled that. We couldn't have butter. I remember we had this garlic butter. I think it was actually in Iowa. We had this garlic butter that was so good. And Travis asked for a little side of it to go. So they literally came to the table, and it was like a handoff. The waitress came behind, like Travis reached his hand behind his seat, and they like handed him this dish of garlic butter. On the way back, we're walking through an alleyway to get back to the hotel, and Kyle like comes up behind him, snatches the butter out of his hand, and like Gronk spikes it on the ground, like starts laughing. It was like we weren't getting away with anything. Everything was like super healthy.
Bro, you remember the Caesar?
The Caesar was crazy.
You remember the Caesar dressing?
You have Caesar dressing,
How pressed
bro.
I got when I asked for that Caesar side, and Kyle saw me. That was the worst day of my entire life.
So they took our phones.
They took our phones. That was the worst.
The dietary restrictions were not crazy. Like we were burning so many calories. Like they didn't have us. Like most things for the most part we could eat. It was no fries. It was no Caesar dressing, no sour cream. I think that those like the three big no-nos. Like everything else was kind of like, whatever. You know, you guys are pretty healthy. You're doing the right things. Eat your veggies. Those are the three absolute no-goes. And apparently garlic butter and cinnamon
garlic
sugar butter.
Oh my god, bro! It was absolutely elite.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was.
Bro, once I had a Take 5 bar in my bag, and it wasn't like Kyle saw it, took it out of my locker, out of my bag, and it wasn't one of those things. He literally said, "I'm so disappointed in you."
That's because that was your pops, though. Kyle's your pops.
That was your pops.
That was your dad.
It
So
was.
like that. Of course, it was disappointing in you.
He was quite hurt.
What do you guys remember about going to games on the road, especially? Like, I always remembered, like, when you would get onto the bus, it was just a different type of feeling. Travis, I know you can elaborate a little bit more, too. But, like, when
Travis was always late to the bus.
once you got from the hotel to that bus, everything just clicked a little bit differently.
For the record, I was never late to the bus because if I was late to the bus, they would have left my ass in the hotel. So never.
True.
But no,
That's fair.
listen, this is actually like when people ask what you miss most about like your college basketball, Maryland basketball experience, I think it was like So you go down to pregame meal the day of the game. This is on the road in the hotel. You go down to the pregame meal. We had the same spread before every single game. It was like pasta, grilled chicken, salmon, all that. You eat, you grab your jersey, you go back to the room. And like Drew was saying earlier, guys had routines. So Reese was doing homework. Ant was watching Netflix and sleeping. I was just sitting on my phone doing nothing for hours, whatever. You know what time they tell you, okay, the game's at 7. You got to be on the bus at 5:30. We're leaving at 5:30. 5:30, everybody needs to be on the bus. We're leaving. So guys will go on 5:15, 5:25, whatever guys are trickling on. The lights are on. You get on the bus, the lights are on. As soon as 5:30 hits, like on the dot, the lights come off on the bus. Everybody's on, and it's dead silent. Like dead silent. Everybody's listening to music, getting their minds right, whatever it is. And you're driving through this little college town, Wisconsin, Iowa, whatever, and you see people walk into the game, like out the window, and you know, like, it's me and my group of 18, 19, 20, whatever it is on this bus against 18,000, 19,000. Like, it's war. But I got my gang, my posse with me, and we're gonna fight. And it was just one of those things where, like, the feeling of like anticipation, it was almost like the calm before the storm. Like, it was dead silent, and as soon as you got out, you walked into like straight mayhem. It was crazy.
So awesome.
And that kind of leads you directly into like playing on the road. I've gotten 100 questions because we always talk about how tough it is to play on the road. It's just such a different environment and such a different feeling altogether. Whereas when you're at home, you're 4 hours before the game, you're already in the locker room. And you know everybody throughout this arena, you know all the security people, you know all the food places, you know where you're going to eat. You have all of these regularities that are almost traditions at that point. You say hey to the same people, you fist bump the same people, and you walk on the court and you do your thing. But when you're on the road, you get there 90 minutes before the game, you don't know a single person, you're looking around, it's different people yelling at you, from the bus. Everybody knows the big coach bus is the away team. You get off, and then it's a brand new environment. And you have 75 minutes to adjust. And then, it's not only just an adjustment period. And I know I didn't really have to go through it at all, but like, you also then have to think, fuck, there's ESPN. I'm about to be on ESPN. I've never shot on this rim before. This is a brand new environment for me. It's just different. It's really tough to get acclimated quickly on road games, which is why I think teams start slow. And if they do start quick, sometimes it doles out, midway through. It's just my opinion, though.
But it's crazy, and we've talked about this before, and in some ways, like, that whole difficult road environment challenge, like, sometimes pushes guys to, like, rise to the occasion and be better. Like, our freshman year team, we were great on the road because we would travel and just lock in.
And we had no fear.
Guys would be so locked in, no fear. They didn't care. Our home games, we were a little bit more tentative, worried about the crowd and reactions and things like that. Guys got girls in the stands, whatever. But on the road, we were so locked in because, like, that challenge that was posed to us, we had no choice but to kind of rise up. Because, like Drew said, it's difficult, it's tough, and it's completely different than playing at home.
It's completely different energy. And I think there's definitely more pressure playing at home, especially when there's expectations on your team. Like, you almost come... I never dreaded playing at home, but when you're a good team, a top-ranked team, you're expected to win at home. And I think there's an expectation that comes with the fans and then how they cheer for you at home. Whereas you go on the road, like Travis said, there's 18 people. We got these 15 in this huddle. We got the 30 people sitting right behind our bench, and that's it. Like, everyone else in the gym wants you to lose. They're rooting against you. And so you come together because of those numbers. Like, it becomes one of those like us versus them, like F everybody in here. And it's just like, it's a really fun and like uplifting feeling that sometimes playing on the road, it was like, it just brought you together. Not only the experiences of being in the hotel with your teammates and you're kind of isolated and not with the rest of your student body, but then just the games. Like, for me, it was so much less pressure playing on the road because you weren't really expected to win, and you only had a certain small percentage of people in the crowd that were rooting for you. That when you did win and you got to silence the crowd, it was better than making a crowd go crazy.
And Kevin, you said this before a bunch of times, where sometimes the expectation at home of making that shot on the extra pass, you can hear everybody getting ready to go to, cheer. There's a little bit more expectation for you to make that. When you get that extra pass and you're on a run, you hear the crowd collectively get ready to cheer. And then you also hear the sigh if you don't make it. So it's just such different energy than, silencing a loud crowd where it's just you. There's just so many different expectations at home. And again, like you said, it's not like playing at home is like scary or not fun or not good. It's just different.
It's a lot more fun when you're the underdog at home. Like, you're the underdog, you're not expected to win. You have a big team come in, and it's like, all right, let's go. This crowd is on the tip of their toes. If you're a top 15 ranked team, any team that walks in there, it's like there's an expectation. Let's win this game.
The other thing about road games is like there's a couple things that every single time without fail you knew were going to happen, and that was you're going to get some bad calls. You got to bake in, like, call it 4, 6, 8 points of disadvantage just from getting bad calls, some home cooking it with the refs. And then there was always going to be some random dude that averaged 4 or 6 points a game, and he was going to spaz because home gym, he's comfortable, he's got a student section behind him, like, he's going to have a game. So all of that, like, when we say like the difference between home and road, like, I think every single game, especially in the Big Ten, playing at home is another, call it 6 to 12 points depending on the day, right? You guys think that's about right?
Well, especially think of like the DMV though, like how many players obviously come out of that area. Every single team had somebody from Maryland that was on their team. So every scouting report, it's like, hey, this guy went to Pavia, this guy went to DeMatha. He's walking in here, he's trying to kill us. This guy's going to go try to get 20. And that was like a thing every single game.
Yeah.
It is. Even teams in the conference. And then another thing is just, we talk about it all the time, but defense does travel. I mean, Northwestern now 6-4 on the road. It's pretty impressive. But like Kevin just said, guys come into Maryland and want to take over a game, whether it's, hate to say it, but Hunter Dickinson. You can name a guy almost every team that comes into Maryland is from the state and has something to prove.
Here's another question that we got a bunch, which is kind of funny because we didn't really fight that often, but we did get asked if there were any fights in practice. I know one guy in particular in this group of 4 got into a little bit of a tussle. Besides that, and Travis, you can tell that story here in a second. I'm not sure that we had that many fights. I mean, I remember I got into I was yelling at Mello during bikes and stuff like that. If you guys remember that, when Kyle had us on the bikes in the gym and Mello and I got into it. I almost beat his ass. Besides Rob Carter and Rashid Suleiman, they had something. Anybody have anything prior to college? Anybody have any high school fights? Kev, you get in a fight in high school or anything like that?
No way.
He didn't get in a fight.
No way. No way. Not this guy.
I did.
Hey.
My brother was on the team, of course. No, I was a sophomore in high school, and our coach called us all, soft. Let's use that word. Our coach called us all soft at the end of the year because we hadn't gotten into a fight in practice. It was like this whole, like, we're not tough enough, or this and that. God, you guys haven't even had a fight yet. And so then we were all just like, are you kidding me? We had a senior on our team that year for like the last 2 weeks of the season. Like every single practice just started shoving guys like, oh, what the fuck was that? Yo, he's like trying to push guys, like trying to start things. It was like, okay, apparently our high school coach just like wants us to start fighting. But no, never for me, never in college.
Yeah, Travis, tee up yours, because tee up your hug session with Josh, because that's all you sissies did. You guys sat there. You guys might even kiss midway through. I'm not sure.
Hug session.
Travis almost got
more like an ass whooping session, and I wasn't getting my ass whooped. Nah, I think, like, in all seriousness, there was never no fist fights, nothing like that. Obviously, it was competitive. Guys was going at each other every day. My personal aggressive incident, we were playing pickup, right? So I think it was the spring or the summer. We're playing pickup. I don't remember who's on whose team, but all I remember is I had Bruno on my team, and then I was matched up with Ant. Ant was playing with Josh. So Josh, great player, but Bruno was busting his ass. Like, I'm talking like 8 buckets in a row. Like, give me the ball, get out the way. Dribble,
dunks.
Jump Bruno
hook,
was an
dunk.
animal in college.
And there's no shame in that. Dude's in the league. Like, he's a pro. He was always a pro. There's no shame in that. But he was cooking Josh's shit. And I'm over there. I haven't scored a point. I haven't shot the ball yet. I am talking endless shit. He's killing you. Get him the ball again. Look at that shit. You embarrassing everybody. crazy, talking shit. Y'all know Josh, he used to get a little hot, right? So he starts to get a little riled up, and he's like, "What'd you say? What you call me? Shut the fuck up. You come guard me." And I'm like, "Josh, I'm 6'2", brother. I'm not getting to the paint guard you. Like, you two figure that out." Anyway, he's still yelling at me. I'm still laughing, talking shit. Ant comes down with the ball. Josh sets a ball screen, right? So I duck it and go under the screen. I'm trying to be slick and cute, whatever. And Josh said, "What was that? Use the screen. Use the screen. Go over the screen." So I'm all right. Ant is dribbling the ball still, and he's giggling. He's loving it. He's antagonizing. He can't wait. So he comes right back off the ball screen. I lowered my shoulder. Shout out Jalen Ramsey, Tyreek Hill, and I put a shoulder into Josh's chest. He was ready for it. I didn't move him crazy. He was braced for it.
Didn't move.
All right, relax. He moved a little bit. He relaxed. He took a little step back.
He didn't move.
All right, he moved a little bit, and then we got all like, it was one of those like hug fest where we're hugging each other and talking shit, and everybody's running in. Apparently, Old Terps' eyes lit up, and he's sprinting over there to like break it up. And I'm smiling, laughing, and Josh is like, "What is that? Is he laughing? He's smiling like a little girl. I will wipe that smile off his face." And I'm giggling and shit as I'm pushing me away. And the awkward part is we had to lift like right after that. So we both we all went to the weight room, we were lifting, and me and him didn't say a word to each other, and we were just clapping and laughing and stuff, but like it was a little awkward for a minute.
And people forget Travis is a little on the petty side. So like you wrong him one time, that's you're in the doghouse for about a week to 2 weeks, depending on what it was. And if you really screw him, that's a month to 2 months and it's subtle. He's not going to tell anybody that he's not fucking with you. It's just going to be one of those things where you wake up 7 days later and you're like, Travis hadn't talked to me in a week.
You guys would kill me.
Hey, and Josh may have been open the next 2 games, but Trav held that dribble. He pulled it out.
People
might not have hit him.
People also don't realize how much shit everybody would talk to each other during those practices and how competitive it got on that. So like my freshman year, we won 2 games in the Big Ten tournament, and then we went to the Sweet 16. So I always had, like, I'd say to Anthony all the time, Anthony would get shitty at me sometimes, and I'd be like, "You're not even a winner. Like, you never won anything. I've won more games than you have. What are you talking about? You haven't won a single thing." And the thing I kind of liked about Anthony, and kind of everybody for that matter, Kevin, you too, nobody ever was like, "Bro, you're a walk-on. Like, you didn't win shit." I know I didn't win shit. But it kind of used it as motivation, and that was like we were talking a couple episodes ago where everybody's on equal playing field. Bro, it's kind of just like a respect thing of everybody knows everybody's trying to get the next guy better. So we never took that besides Travis, if, somebody looked at him wrong or, gave him a nut shot or something like that. Nobody really held any grudges.
Well, the dynamic of practice though created that. It was like you had first team for the most part, you had second team, and then you always had third team and third scout team. And third team was always, it was you three, it was Tostado, it was Ken Oslander, it was Josh Tomajic, it was who was ever on red shirt. But like that was always your
cooking
group.
Sometimes.
So it was like, so you talk shit like, "Hey yo, we just busted your guys' ass last practice and the one before that." And it was like, so then it was our turn, like as a guy, quote unquote, like in the rotations and playing. That was like, nah, like this practice, like we're owning you guys. We're going 4-on-4 in the half court doing breakdowns, and like that was where all the shit talk was coming from. Where it wasn't like, okay, this practice I'm on the same team as Andrew, Travis, Reese is on the other team. It was always like scout team group, the 5 of them, versus like the rest of the team. And so you're able to like kind of create those practice rivalries, which made it fun.
But the thing about that too is like we were talking a lot of shit, but we were like dead going at people. Like we weren't just talking to talk and do this and that. Like we were trying to go at dudes and kill dudes. And like, did we win every matchup? No. We occasionally lost some here and there. But we were gonna like most of the next day we're gonna wake up. Okay.
Not most of the time. Relax, big boy.
The best part,
we had our moments.
We were we were allowed to foul, so it helped. So I would hold Kevin and Wiggins on every curl. I would hold, and Turge would love it. He'd be like, "Nice, that's great, get them better."
Bro, and that's another thing.
They were not allowed to come off screen.
I feel like, for the most part, everybody sees me as like kind of somebody that doesn't give a shit at all. But like practices was such a different animal for everybody. Like there was no giggling, there's no laughing. I honestly wanted to kill Cap. Like I wanted to kill him every single day, not because I thought shit this would give me some
bust that ass.
Look at this. This guy's a fucking clown, dude.
He just said he was giving you a purple bottom. That's insane.
Hey, Kev, if there was one guy on the team you wanted to go at, who would it be?
It was Andrew every time. Are you kidding me?
Wow. He didn't even think of it.
He didn't hesitate. He said, I want him.
Crazy.
I want him right there.
You know what's crazy is there was an unspoken rule I had with all the guys. You never full court press me. You never ever full court press me. When
Here we go.
When I get that rock, you can shadow guard me all the fuck you want, but do not pressure me 94 feet, or it's gonna be silly. So Kevin, of course, is angry because we're beating the shit out of him.
He was mad as shit that day. I don't remember why. He was mad as shit that day.
He was angry.
We were doing it was you were being a practice hero somehow. It was like we were trying to work on stuff, and it's like you were like just trying to beat the drill, and so like we were getting cussed out, and then it was one of those like
I'm making shots.
I'm picking him up full court and by the way, before he tells this story, it was not my fault. But you can continue. Just so everybody know listening to this, it was not my fault.
This is a great story. This is one of the best stories in history.
So I get the rock out. Okay. Outlet. I'm yelling for it. I'm ready to push that thing. I turn and Kevin's right there and he's not moving. And I look at him and he knows about the truce I have with the entire team and have had for years now. And I just look at him. I said, "Are we doing this right now?" And you're like, "Come on, dribble the ball up, big boy. You want to be Mr. Loud Guy. Come on, dribble the ball up." So I said, "Fuck it, this is easy." Literally just took him up the court, nice and smooth. No, it didn't need a screen, didn't need any help. Easy as, I think I got it over in 6 seconds. I was giggling half the time. I make a quick little pass, like the point guard I am, to the left wing. I'm going to get my guy open with one of the hardest screens you'd ever see in your entire life. Kevin, being Mr. Big Puss Cake, pissy pants, all angry that day, gives me a shove as I'm setting the screen. Of course, my foot gets caught underneath Josh's dumbass foot. And when I tell you, my knee was flat on the ground.
Drew started screaming.
It's broke. It's broke. I broke it. It's over. It exploded.
Broke it. I'm done.
No, my shit was so fucked. And I remember right when I felt that thing, I felt my shin hit the fucking floor as I was standing.
Okay, for context, this
Everybody's
guy,
like, whoa.
he dribbled the ball up the court, passed it to the wing, and did a typical hey, you pass to the wing, you cut through, the point guard clears out. As he's cutting through the paint, it's typical hey, I'm on defense, you jump to the ball, you don't let him face cut you. Give him a little shot to the chest as he's cutting through.
No.
Him and Josh just were running by each other at the same time. And he stepped on his foot and it was like a bag of freaking rocks. Like, he went down right away, clutching his ankle. Like, right away, it was like the eyes went to me like I had just shot his dog in front of him. And it was like I was the worst person in the world.
Bro,
He was laid out. He was about to pass out. You was laid out on the court like you about to pass out like this. Like, bro, it's broke.
He just kept, bro. He kept telling everyone, "It's broke."
It's broke. And Matt was like, "Shut up."
It was broken.
Hey, Drew was out for the next 9 months.
I was gonna say, I still, what's crazy? I still have zero feeling in my left toes from that injury. Like right now, I'm like sitting here, like I've stubbed my toe so bad that like people are like, "Holy shit!" And I was like, I didn't even feel it because my so-called best friend picked me up 94 feet.
I
for
will
no
say,
fucking reason.
I will say, as an objective third party, I didn't see the play itself because I think I got the ball, but in 2 years, I never ever saw Kev pick up full court like that another time. But that one, bro, that time he was in Drew's shit, like 94 feet, like that's how you knew he was pissed.
Did you see anybody ever in the history of Maryland basketball pick me up full court? Ever?
Not like that. Not like that. Even Ant would like pressure you a little bit, turn you a little bit. He was not. Kevin was throwing elbows in your gut all the way up the court.
Well, that was the only reason I felt bad is because, of course, I'm like, all right, the one time I pick up full court, Andrew goes down, season-ending injury. So that was the only reason I felt bad. To this day, it was not my fault. It wasn't. You stepped on Josh's foot with zero contact for me. You just wanted to put it on me. But hey,
Bro,
how
the
she
worst
was.
part of that was we just got those brand new Steph Currys that like hugged your foot and went past your ankles. Bro, they had to bring out the chainsaw to cut the shoe off because my foot was so fat. And then I remember, bro, I'm sitting in I get to the varsity again. Shout out 221, and like I don't even know how to explain this, but like I could not do anything. Like I couldn't get in the shower. I couldn't do shit. So I'm laying in the shower. My foot's up and out of the shower, and it is the size of Frankenstein. And then I hear my front door open. Then I hear walking around, and I hear my bathroom door open, and it's Kev's dumbass smiling, looking at me like, "Are you okay? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that." I was like, "No, you
No,
did
his
do
first words were probably, "It's not my fault." You know,
He
it's
was.
not my
Definitely
fault.
say sorry.
it, bro."
Definitely say sorry.
It literally was one of the first things he said was just like, "Dude, I did not mean for that to happen at all." No, you know what his actual first word was? I know you think that was my fault, but it wasn't. And here's why. And he's like giving me a diagram of the plate. And he's like, look at the picture. Look at the picture. Okay, now real fast, rapid fire, because that was a long story. Rapid fire. Worst away locker room and why? Kev, first, go.
Penn State, because the arena was huge and you had a closet of a locker room.
Trav.
Penn State, because they would play the roar every 10 seconds, and everybody just got so pissy and pissed off in that locker room.
Reese.
Locker room Rutgers, because I don't think they changed that carpet in there since it was built.
That thing was like a prison cell. Mine's a little different at Indiana because my freshman year, Diamond Stone clogged the toilet so bad we actually couldn't stay in the locker room. We had to have pregame and postgame. That's how long it lingered in the hallway. It was so bad.
Oh, gosh.
And of course, his dumb ass is just sitting there laughing. We just got beat by 20, and he's giggling, talking about, "Do you think they flushed it yet?" I'm like, bro, shut up. Okay, this is one of the last ones. Reese, this is directed at you, man, and it's because you're softer than wet bread. I had a guy send me a DM, and he said, I was at UCLA game, and Reese was back to the back wall in the nosebleeds. And he said the question was,
That's nasty. This is nasty. This is nasty.
and he's in his.
This is
You know what's
nasty.
even crazier? The guy said you were in your full warm up and shorts from your playing days. So he
shoes on
asked me the
too.
question. He said, do ex-players get seniority in getting seating? Like if we wanted to go back and get tickets, I told him, I said, absolutely. I mean, I'm sitting feet on the floor every fucking time. Now Reese, that
Reese is
guy's
sitting next to God.
there's a reason
right.
he's up next to God up there.
Next to Mother
Let me know what
Mary.
I can answer. Let me know what I can answer.
Go ahead, Reese. Tell
All
us
right.
your truth, man.
Before I answer, if you're watching this on YouTube, you got to look at Drew's sweatshirt. We've gone on this sweatshirt. It's got to be 12 years old, and he's still wearing it. But back to the question.
You look
That
like a
game
coach,
against
Reese. Literally, you look like
All
a
right.
coach.
Hey, I am coaching state playoffs tomorrow night. All right.
You about to get whooped.
Back to
You about to
your
get 30
Bro,
beats.
Reese came on the camera half crying, half sweating because practice was so hard on him. They were so mean to him.
Because little Tommy
Those kids
cussed
just
him
won't
out.
listen to me.
Reese told him to play hard and dive on the floor. Little Tommy said, "Shut the f up."
Hey,
Reese is that coach
I
that
promise
leads
you.
by example, and he says, "I take charges. Come hit me. Come hit me." And every kid on the team just punches him in the nuts.
you two would definitely start on my bench. That's all I know.
This guy doesn't want to win. He's not a winner.
But the UCLA game, the reason I was at the top is because I asked Chris for tickets, and I think I got 2 of them, and I was rotating seats with my friends. I had like 5 friends come, so
yeah.
I wasn't gonna not sit with them. So then I would go up and sit with them at the top, and I did.
Oh,
see
that
people
wasn't a
up top.
joke?
But
He was actually at the top?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
part of the game, I was sitting up top. I was
You were
switching
actually
with
sitting
friends.
next to
But-
God in your own gym.
But I'm gonna kid you not. Chris will do me. My seats won't be as good as if like a Kevin. I mean, you saw Daryl's front row, my seats are good behind the bench normally, but that game UCLA, I said, like, if I can't get that many, it's fine. And I was switching with friends up top, but I was up top.
Bro, here's the direct
Reese
quote.
went like that. That's crazy.
I was in
couldn't
utter
let that happen.
Couldn't be me.
I was in utter shock to see him next to me with the common man using binoculars to see the floor. Reese, you have a banner hanging there. You've won a Big Ten. You literally have 2019 team hanging, and you were higher than the actual banner.
As a grown man, man in 2023, you cannot go like that.
I guess I didn't do enough. I didn't do enough to be great at Maryland. I guess that's
All
it.
right, here's our last question. 2 and 1. Favorite food spot in College Park, Maryland?
Favorite or where did I go the most? Chipotle, Pan Express were
Jesus,
all the
Kev.
time.
We're just talking. Now
Nando's?
you're just
No.
naming chains.
Chipotle.
Marathon Deli.
We're not talking
Nando's,
your favorite
Perry at the
restaurant,
corner.
period. We're talking in college.
They put
Nando's.
pineapple on their
Perry.
chicken sandwich. Stop it.
Yeah, that was the best. That
Pineapple
was
on
the
chicken
best thing.
sandwich.
Best
Shout
thing
out,
I've
That
ever
shout
one
out
smacks.
Justin Jackson. Nando's Perry.
Peronaise. That Peronaise
Yeah,
was crazy.
I hated Nando's. That place was trash.
What's your answer, big guy? Tough guy?
Eat straight McDonald's.
Wasn't eating. I didn't eat.
Pizza Bowlies. We used to. Oh my God, we'd crush Pizza Bowlies.
Yeah, if we got home from a away trip at like 3 a.m., it was Pizza Bowlies every day of the week. That shit was fire.
The funniest part about our team too, with all living next to each other, was if anybody got food, and it was like if you walked into someone's room and they had food on the table, it was like, you didn't get me any. It was like, are you kidding me? It was like, yeah,
Bro,
sorry,
you
I
didn't
hit
text
you
the group
40 minutes
chat?
ago to right. Anthony Cowan. Every single time, if you had food in front of that guy and you didn't tell him about it, it was like he wouldn't talk to you the rest of the day.
Bro, you would hear the same noise every single time. Bruh, you didn't. Bruh. All right, I see how you're doing it, Drew. All right.
That's
All right,
that's
this guy,
crazy.
that's crazy. Hey, I'm not going to tell you who sneak this him, but somebody sneaked this. Same shit every fucking
Anthony
time.
Cowan, the king of opening cereal and then just leaving it wide open on the counter, coming back
Bro, or-
2 days later, like, bro, why is this stale, bro? Like he just didn't get it. It took him like 3 years to figure out that cereal went stale if you left it open.
Ant's also the only kid I know who washed his socks like in the actual, you know how you like bundle your socks when they're clean and you wash them separately? Like he washed it
You're doing
bundled
Ant's
at all
laundry?
times. And I said, why do you do that? There's no way, one, they get clean, two, dry. And he said, otherwise I'd lose the sock. Are you an idiot?
Why was you watching my man do his laundry like that? Why was you clocking my man his laundry like that?
He's a creep, bro.
You guys are acting like I didn't live with the guy for 3 years.
over his
Shut up,
shoulder.
Reese.
How many times you wash that sweatshirt?
That's crazy. We got to
You
end
know
the
what's
podcast
crazy?
now. We got to end it now.
Nah, you know what's
It's
crazy?
gonna get ugly.
You know what's crazy? I was on FaceTime the other day and Reese answered the FaceTime. Right? He propped his little phone up. He's sitting there ironing his khakis for his game. I'm talking about a coach. That guy's a fucking loser. If you iron your khakis,
Guy knows how to make up anything.
this guy
this guy
steam
said.
pressing his khakis.
Cut the camera off. Cut the camera off now. It's getting ugly.
He's steam pressing his khakis, making sure they're ready. Talking about these boys don't know how to do this.
He's so shook. He's just fabricating evidence at this point.
Oh man,
This is
cut
insane.
the evidence.
All right, we got to be done with this. Otherwise, I'm gonna go on a rant about Kev breaking my ankle for another 3 hours. All right, this is another episode of Old Terps podcast. These are the episodes we like. A lot of storytelling, a lot of just having fun. You see Kevin, he's kicked back, relaxed, acting like he's not in Oklahoma City. I mean, it's the worst city of all time. I've been
That
there twice.
sucks.
I'd absolutely hate it. Thank God I'm not him. Thank God we are us. How great are we? This is the end of the
Shout out
episode.
us.
Old Terps podcast. Subscribe, smash that like button. Follow us for more, and we'll be back next week. Let's go Terps.
Beyond the Big Ten is a network of podcasts that aims to be your go-to resource for all things Big Ten. We cover the entire conference with shows hosted by ex-players and athletic alumni, aiming to be your go-to source of information and entertainment for your favorite team. Hosted by ex-Big Ten players, media, and insiders, Our podcasts are focused on giving diehard fans and those alums an inside scoop about the teams and people that make the Big Ten Conference one of the most watched and most talked about conferences in sports. We're excited to talk Big Ten basketball with you wherever you may be. Subscribe now.